Hey there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kayla, and today I'm going to be talking about The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. Also, we're going super casual because that's kind of just who I am, and I have been putting makeup on and making sure I wear clothes when I film, and to be honest, that's really not who I am, so I'm going to try to keep it more casual. And I love hoodies. It's one of those things where it's like, am I wearing a bra? Am I even wearing a shirt? You'll never know, but probably not, So anyway, let's continue on. This series includes 15 books, one of which is a prequel, and was first published in 1990 and was finished by Brandon Sanderson in 2013. Robert Jordan finished I want to say the 11th book, in the main series, Knife of Dreams, and then he died in 2007, and Brandon Sanderson picked up the series. I talk about this in my Brandon Sanderson video. I will link that in the eye if you are interested and you're curious as to how that process took place. But either way, he finished it, and the last 3 books are he is the co-author listed on the covers. So anyway, the reason that I've started reading this series is, one, my love of Brandon Sanderson. I needed to read everything he's ever written, and in order to do that, I have to finish the series. But also because Amazon is actually in the process of filming this series right now. The cast has been set.
So, The Wheel of Time, Season 1, Episode 1.
You go back, you give them a way to follow us. I can't allow that. Crossing that river would be foolish, and you are not a fool.
Come on, do you really think she's any better than what's chasing us?
Of course I do.
Till then, though, the lady does shoot fireballs, so let's try and stay on her good side, eh?
And off this, we smash to black at the end of the episode.
And it's in the works. This is happening. There's been some set photos released. They're filming it. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a giant Game of Thrones sized hole in my heart for an epic fantasy series, and I'm hoping that The Wheel of Time will fill it. So yeah, I wanted to read the book series before the show came out. And I'm going to attempt to finish the entire series by November, which is when I believe they were tentatively saying, but I think it might have been even pushed back to 2021. I'm not 100%. I kind of would rather them wait and have it perfected than push it out early and then me just be really disappointed. But regardless, we're going to try to finish the series within the next 12 months, and I'm going to discuss it. So yeah, let's do this. Okay, so the premise of this book is pretty easy but also pretty complex. It's kind of a weird juxtaposition between those two things, but the basis of it is a journey between a group of people from a small town who are being followed by minions, basically, of the Dark One, who is obviously the bad guy, and they are trying to reach where are they trying to go? What is the Aes Sedai city? No.
According to World Population
No.
Review,
So they're trying to reach Tarvalon in order to be protected by the female magic wielders that reside there. So it's pretty basic in that regard, but there's also this whole prologue that shows this man who is absolutely insane, and he's standing amongst a bunch of dead bodies and the ruins of a house that I guess apparently is his. It's a very weird scene, but basically he's gone insane. He's not seeing things correctly, and he's murdered his whole family, and the Dark One is there, and then the guy who murders his family is enlightened by the one who wields the dark power, and he sees what he's done and then essentially kills himself, and it creates this mountain, and then the town that the people are living in, that are in this story, live by this mountain, I believe, is how it goes. I'm not an expert. I've done quite a bit of research now to make sure that I understand what's happening, but that is the prologue of the book. So that's how it starts out. You know that some crazy shit's gonna go down. And so that's how we begin, and then we meet all these characters. Randall Thor is who you follow for a large portion of it. His friends Perrin and Matt, and then also Egwene and Nynaeve. And they go with Moraine and Lan, who are magic wielders, and then Tom, who is a gleeman, which is like someone, he's kind of like an entertainer. Like, he juggles and sings and tells stories and plays a harp and like a lute. And he's just an all-around fun character. I love Tom. So they all set out on this really fast-paced journey to escape the minions of the Dark One. And they go through a lot of similar situations that they do in the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring, where they have to get on the boat and get across with the ferry and this and that, and they get split up. And it's pretty freaking fast-paced. I think there's a lot of really great moments and a lot of anxiety throughout it, and it's really interesting. The writing is very descriptive, so if you go into this with that in mind, I think you'll enjoy it, but it is very wordy. You're going to envision everything. You'll be able to see literally everything, but it is wordy, and if that's something that would deter you, definitely don't pick it up, because he described everything. Buttons, the buttons on the clothing, it's just everything. Every little detail is described. It's not difficult writing. I did not find it to be like something that I was struggling to understand in any way. But yeah, it's just very descriptive, and that doesn't bother me at all. So the magic system in this is called the One Power, and there's a male and a female side to it. And basically, the female side can be accessed obviously by women who are gifted by it, and nothing bad happens unless they don't utilize their gift or are trained to their gift, it would seem. And then, there's potential for bad things to happen in that regard. But the male side, is very violent and chaotic, and basically can cause any man who wields the One Power to go fucking crazy. And that's the gist of it. So I'm sure there's a lot more nuances to it, but just like the breakdown of it, that is it. There's also a character, not really a character, but a character called the Dragon Reborn. You don't know who it is, but he appears throughout history, and the Dark One is always searching for him, because I guess it is probably prophesied to be like his downfall. I don't know specifically yet. I don't have a whole lot of that information quite yet. I just know that basically there's always these dragons being reborn, but it's not a dragon, it's like a person, it's just what they refer to him as. But so that's kind of how that all gets going, as far as like choosing who these three boys are and why they're on this mission to begin with. Because the Dark One has selected them. He thinks that one of them could potentially be the Dragon Reborn. The downfall of the Dragon Reborn is he's a male who touches the power, right? When the males touch the power, they go fucking crazy. So it's a double-edged sword. You can't defeat the Dark One without a dude, and the dudes can't handle it. So what are you gonna do? I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out in the 14 more books. So that is about as much of the summary as I'm going to go into. I don't want to spoil the actual book, obviously. I will get into my review of it now. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I liked it quite a bit, but I definitely felt like there was some pacing. Like, parts of it were really fast paced, and then other parts I was like, can we fucking get going here, guys? And once we had different points of view, I actually liked it more, because I don't know. So far, being from Rand's point of view, I'm not like a huge fan of Rand. And I think that kind of affected me a little bit as I was reading it. Once they were split up, I really liked reading about Perrin and Egwene, and I liked this, and I also like Moraine, Lan, and Nynaeve. So there is that. There's some parts that were super creepy. There's one part that's in like a really old city that I was like on edge like the whole time. I thought it was really interesting, and I can see the potential for this book series, especially with how large I think it's going to be. Well, especially with how large it is. But I can see a lot of potential within this one book. I know a lot of people who are huge fans of this series say you can't base your opinion off of it on just this book, because it changes so much, and you get to explore the world, which is really huge. There's so many different races and cultures and stuff like that, so I'm pretty excited to continue on with it. But But yeah, either way, I would suggest this book to anybody who likes epic fantasy, if you know what I mean. Like, if you mostly read YA fantasy and you're considering reading this, I would start somewhere else. I definitely prefer the writing style in A Song of Ice and Fire or like in Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archives, but I don't dislike this. I definitely can see the merit in it. I know that when I was reading about the parts in Emmonsfield and they were describing the town and all the little details about that, I could picture it so perfectly. And I will say that about this, like, I think the show will really succeed in that regard because there's so much description. Like, they should be able to make it exact. I think it's going to be really good. I did get a little teary-eyed a couple times. The friendship in this book series is amazing. I really love that aspect of it. I think that a lot of fantasy, not fantasy, I mean mostly YA fantasy is what is guilty of it, but I feel like friendship isn't focused on very much, and I think that this book series in particular is going to really highlight the friendship between a lot of the characters. I know that they're going to go through a ton of things, obviously, in 15 books together, and so I'm excited to see how their relationships between all of the characters grow. They go through a lot in this book in general, from getting from basically point A to B to C. It's very like, we're going from here to here, and we're going from here to here, and each story, like each chapter is basically an arc of action. Like, you start out kind of slow, those things build up, the thing happens, and then, you know, it sort of ends, and then chapter ends, and then somebody else's point of view will start, and it's the same way. And in that regard, I think the pacing is actually really good, and I think the chapter lengths are almost perfect. They're like 10 to 12 pages, I think. And because of that, I was able to read really fast, I feel like, for how big. I mean, it's not huge. It's like 800 pages. But either way, I really liked the chapter lengths, and I liked the arc of the story, but I think I read a lot of people saying that they felt it was really repetitive and that each book is very similar in that regard, and I don't know that I will like it if I continue, but right now I think it's a really great, really easy way to read. So I really enjoyed that. But anyway, so one of the quotes that made me so saddy and so cryy, I was toward the end of it. I'm not going to say obviously who it is. It'll just be out of context, but I mean, listen. I will hate the man you choose because he is not me, and love him if he makes you smile. No woman deserves the sure knowledge of a widow's black as her bride price, you least of all. Like, I want you to be happy and I'll hate him, but also I'll be happy that he makes you happy. Oh, I don't know. I really loved it. Granted, I didn't see that relationship building, and I don't know why. I guess maybe it was more obvious to some other people, but I thought, I don't know, it seemed a little bit weird, but maybe I'm crazy and I just wasn't looking for it because I was focused on other people. But yeah, I really liked that part. I really liked that quote. I thought the end was a little bit confusing as to what was happening. I ended up watching a YouTube video about it because I was like, there's a lot of like dreaming going on in the series, and so the ending, I wasn't sure if it was a dream happening, like, or if it was really happening. And so I ended up having to Google it because I just really wasn't sure what was, I thought I knew, but then I was like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I thought it was a little confusing, but I did like it. I liked a lot of the creatures. I thought there was a lot of creepy things happening, a lot of like, maybe not supernatural, but like possession type situations. I think things that are like human but like not human are super fucking creepy. You know what I mean? I don't know. I really like zombies are fucking scary to me because they're like human but they're not, or like exorcist type shit, like that's a human but they're possessed by a demon. Like, can you trust them? Can you not? They look like a human, but what's going on? You know, what's going on in there? I don't know. So that kind of shit is creepy to me, and there was quite a bit of that in here, so I like that. It gives you that anxiety, like, who do I trust, who do I not trust, like, can I trust anybody? They make some pretty fucking stupid decisions on that regard, I'm gonna be honest. They specifically Rand and Matt, good God, those two needed to have a lesson. Like, Nynaeve being angry about them and just like being like, I gotta help these guys. I understand, they're fucking idiots, okay? Make a lot of shit decisions, like really, really poor choices, especially after the group gets all split up. You're just like, what do you do you not know what's going on here? Do you not remember everything that's been going on and happening to you? But they're teenagers. That's what I kept having to tell myself. They're stupid teenagers. There's a couple of dumb boys who have literally never dealt with anything like this in their lives. So I guess. And one of the characters that annoyed me a lot was Matt, but I guess a lot of people also love Matt. And so I've also read that there's a lot of character growth for him, so I'm excited to see where he goes. But right now, Perrin is my favorite character, and I also really like Nynaeve. Overall, I do like this book. I'm going to keep going, obviously. I need to know what happens. I've got to get to the Brandon Sanderson books. I know that there's going to be some books that are going to be tough to read, specifically books 8, 9, and 10, I believe. But I'm pretty sure I'm just going to listen to them and power through them. Maybe I'll fucking like them. Maybe I'll like them. I don't know. I could. I don't know, though. But either way, I guess that's it for this video. I don't really have anything else to say. My notes are garbage. And like and subscribe, comment if you have read the series, if you plan on reading the series. Don't spoil anything, for the love of God. It's already hard enough to Google things in regards to the series without, literally I will type someone's name into the Google search bar and Google's like, spoiler. So like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz down below. Let me know if you've read the series, if you liked it, and I will be continuing on with it, obviously, and stay tuned, because there'll be more to come.